Hi, James from Elite. So, thanks for watching this video again. This is part 4 of installing my heat pump in my own home. I'll take you through the install, what the lads have completed. It's been up and running for a couple of months now. We finished the project back in mid-February. It is now start of May. Since then, I've taken the gas out of the properties, stopped the standing charge. We've been doing heating and hot water off this heat pump, which has been working fantastic. I'll show you the efficiencies. Obviously, this is a new build house and well insulated. We do lots of different older properties as well, which I can show you. But this was about me as a director of Elite Services getting the heat pump in my own home and practicing what we preach. So this is a Daikin 4 kilowatt Altherma 3 low temperature heat pump. We've got the pipework under the ground, under the paving, and then up into the loft. This is in 28mm pipework, so plenty of flow and really good efficiencies. As I say, we'll go inside and show you that, show you the Madoka thermostat, where the cylinder goes, and look at the Nectar app as well. So yeah, let's see how we go. Okay, so inside we've installed the Daikin Madoka thermostat. These come in white, black and silver, so whatever your preference, you can choose the thermostat for yourself. I've chosen black, just pretty much to go with the MMI unit upstairs, the same colour as that one. So that's my decision on there. So in terms of the system and how we installed it, we've installed this as a one loop open zone system. So no upstairs and downstairs zones and thermostats and different temperatures. This is just one zone throughout. One thing that we did learn and I have experienced is that before on the gas boiler, and part of the regulations is you've got to zone the floors. So you have the upstairs thermostat, which is here, and down, upstairs in the master, and downstairs in the where it is now. What that lent itself to was different temperatures, and with the gas boiler sending higher temperatures, higher flow temperatures, and not having intelligent controls behind it, lowering them flow temperatures all the time, there was stratification and different temperatures, uncomfortable temperatures from downstairs to upstairs. So even though we might have set the temperatures at 20 degrees throughout, we would have always experienced higher temperatures upstairs, 21, 22. So that was getting a bit uncomfortable. With the heat pump going in, intelligent controls like the Madoka thermostat and the heat pump itself, really trying to lower the flow temperatures all the time, as low as possible, in conjunction with the outside temperature. It is a nicer overall temperature throughout the building. So we do set it today we've got it at 21 and it is just 21 throughout. What we have experienced is it just feels like summer throughout. So yeah, it's not fluctuations of heat and overbearing and 1 minute you're hot and 1 minute you're cold. It's just still heat and just nice in your house. So that was a real bonus as well. So yeah, this is the Madoka thermostat. The functions are, if you can see them on here, we can bring it a bit closer. It's 21 we've set it to. It does round up a little bit, so if it's 20.7, it will round up to 21. So it's not point something accurate, just to bear in mind. You can go along to your hot water temperature and turn that up, and it's showing you what the hot water temperature is now. Then we can go to powerful operation. What that is if we go upstairs and set it to a comfort temperature of 55 degrees, then if more people are coming down, if you want a larger drum of hot water, you can turn it over to powerful operation and that sends it higher. So you don't have to go to the MMI unit or even your phone. You can just set it up. Powerful operation, it'll send it to that higher temperature from here. It will be blue when the heat pump's on and red if there's a fault. So you don't have to worry about if it's on or off or faulted or anything like that. You can just view it from here. You have to have this Madoka thermostat to really get the good functions out of the Nectar app. I don't even think you can get it without the Madoka thermostat. So you definitely have to install one of these if you're installing a Daikin heat pump. It's an absolute must. So yeah, I absolutely love it. We're on the Nectar app as well. That shows energy usages and stuff like that. Scheduling, even air temperature outside, and all sorts of other intelligent information. The other reason why we've definitely installed the Madoka thermostat, and probably more so than none, is a function upstairs on the MMI unit which is called modulation. So I think Heat Geek have touched on this before. Really want to emphasise this as much as possible, this modulation, because it is a bit of a game changer really, and I don't think a lot of installers out there and Daikin know too much and how good it actually is. So to go over modulation, what it says is you can enable it yes or no, obviously yes, and then from 0 to 10 degrees. That will, let's say we put it on 5 degrees, that will give it an allowance to raise up 5 degrees, offsetting off the weather curve, or down 5 degrees, an allowance of offsetting it down off the weather curve as well. So what that is telling us, not only is it weather compensation, this heat pump, and we're talking about the outside temperatures in relation to the floor temperature, but also load compensation as well. So instead of this being a third-party thermostat, and once it gets to 21 degrees, it'll click off, even though it's quite intelligent outside, within the outside temperatures, it's still clicking off. Whereas what this does, and it's load compensating, it's saying, well, hang on, we're getting to that set point temperature of 21 degrees, which we've set. I'm going to start backing off that weather curve and that floor temperature even more. What that does is it increases efficiencies, lowers fan speed and fan noise, pump speed, and just overall comfort level. So it is an absolute must to not only install the Daikin Madoka thermostat, but enabling modulation. We've had a bit of a play around with it. We've even put it up to 10 degrees, which is the maximum, and it's just allowing you to drive it lower. Obviously, we always install our systems correctly, the radiator size correctly, the pipework correctly. So we have no worry about it going over that design weather curve. We're just hoping it'll drive it down as low as possible. So we do enable it to 10 degrees, so it really pushes it forward. Massive modulation, really, really important. So that's why I've installed the Madoka thermostat, because without the Madoka, it wouldn't have that feedback to the heat pump on the load of the house and how well it's doing. So yeah, brilliant thermostat, really chuffed with it, really chuffed with the comfort levels around the house. Left all the thermostats completely open. They could even not be on for all that we know, as in we could have lock shields. So yeah, fully open and just comfortable throughout. Yeah, really good. Onto the MMI. Okay, so onto this MMI unit, we've installed it in the cupboard, just out of the way of sight, but easy accessible. So, as you can see on these figures, it's 49 degrees in the tank at the moment, 21 on the room thermostat downstairs, and 23 is the floor temperature. This is supposed to be underfloor. We don't have underfloor, we have radiators. But we set it to underfloor because then it automatically sets the delta T to 5. We find it runs around the system a lot more efficiently that way. So even though it does say underfloor, it shows underfloor, we've got radiators, and that's more about the delta T. And we want to match the delta T of the heat pump outside, which is 5 degrees in the refrigerant. We want to do that inside. Pressure at the moment is 1.3, and the temperature outside is 17 degrees at the moment, which is nice. Finally, so we're going to quickly look at the efficiencies so far. Information, energy data, the energy we've inputted into the machine on the heating. So far, since installation, is 631 kilowatt hours. So that's what we put into the heat pump unit. What we've got out of the heat pump unit in terms of heat production in kilowatt hours on the heating since installation is 2,524. So you minus that from your 631, and that is bang on 400% efficient, this heat pump on the heating side of things. On the hot water, I think it's about 1.5, but it's always going to be an inefficient process. It's running at 55, 60 degrees to the tank. We want to get that process over as quick as possible. So yeah, it is slightly inefficient, more efficient than a gas boiler and more efficient than immersion, but still you're not going to get the 400% efficiencies because it's not running around the system or the cylinder at 30 degrees. You have to get up to that 55, 60 degrees. So I have had to play around with different functions, how to control the heating system. One was called what we call pure weather compensation. So it doesn't look at it thermostat reference inside, so this will go off, and it's solely going off the weather curve. So if we can quickly go to the weather curve, we've got it when it's -2 outside, 35 degrees is going to the radiators, and when it's 21 degrees outside, at the end of the heating season, it's 21 degrees inside. So we've run this purely on this curve in the past, and it works. It absolutely works. As long as you get the curve right, and if you get the curve wrong, you can offset the curve and tweak and refine it. You can be comfortable inside. It's simple as that. We do get slightly higher efficiencies with this, because the heat pump's continuously being on, never turns off whatsoever. And yeah, slightly, but probably not noticeable enough in your end bills. Let's say it's 430% efficiency. I haven't noticed it dramatically so far. We've done pure weather compensation with no Madoka thermostat downstairs reference, and we've done the Daikin thermostat with modulation at the moment. I particularly prefer the Daikin thermostat with modulation, even though it's slightly less efficiencies and literally minimal. The end user experience is a lot better because you've got the air temperature on your Nectar app, and you can see an air temperature in your house, and that transition from gas boiler to heating system and an air source heat pump is smaller and less complicated. As long as you tell the customer, and I've told the customer to leave it at set temperature you're happy with, and away we go. Maybe refine the scheduling a little bit, 1 or so degrees during the night to be a bit more comfortable, but no turning on and offs all the time. As long as you set a comfortable temperature and leave it, and then you're gonna be efficiency. And the Madoka thermostat and the MMI unit is going to take over that intelligent thinking and all the headache about how you become efficient. As I say, we have done it on pure weather compensation and just ran the heat pump off this graph completely. Did get slightly bigger efficiencies, but nothing drastic, really nothing drastic. So as you can see, you've got the LAN adapter card in the side there. You put that in, and then that will start to enable you to go onto the Nectar app. You have to take over your Wi-Fi and get onto the LAN adapter card, and then you can put it onto your internet connection. This Daikin home controls, that is for new products in the future. I think you're going to be enabling more thermostats, more actuators, more TRVs. As I say, it will be good in some scenarios, but overall, a nice one loop open system, it seems to be the way to go at the moment, which is really good. Yeah, really happy with this. Obviously, there's a lot of background settings that we'll set up, which the end user didn't have to worry about, especially with controlling the heat pump from the thermostat downstairs or on the Nectar app. So, proof's in the pudding. I've installed one in my house. It's running at 400% efficiency. That is beating natural gas running costs, beating your gas boiler costs. I've got solar panels and battery storage in my house, so as a visual, instead of it's being sent back to the grid when I'm overproducing on the solar panels, now I put a big electrical demand in the way, it's going to my heat pump now. So I'm definitely seeing a good 60-70% reduction in my energy bills overall, I think, as well as not having that standing charge as well. So yeah, really, really good. Chuffed to bits with it. We'll go and see the cylinder now and see how that's been piped up, and yeah, so far so good. Okay, so this is where the guys fitted the cylinder. So behind us, this is where the primaries came up. Cylinder cupboard, my wife still wanted an airing cupboard for all the towels and all the bedding, so that was a no-go for us. So we put it in the loft. So yeah, bit of a tight squeeze. We've had to get a slimline cylinder. Unfortunately, at the moment, Daikin don't offer a slimline cylinder, so we've had to go with a third-party cylinder. In the manufacturer's instructions, it does state that with a third-party cylinder, your hot water energy usage on your Daikin controller and your Daikin app might be slightly out. So that's something to bear in mind, and something I did notice when putting this third-party cylinder on. So this is a weld heat cylinder, slimline. It's got a volumizer and not a buffer. we don't do buffers. A third part, a volumizer in the bottom of it. So what that does is, on the return of the heating system, this will go in and out of this volume of water and then go back to the heat pump. So when it comes to defrosting in the winter, it doesn't have to take it off the heating system or on the radiators. It takes it from this body of water first. We don't notice it downstairs, and it defrosts nicely outside. So that was always put a volumizer on most systems. A lot of systems, they've got huge amount of pipe work, huge amount of radiators, hardly notice whatsoever. So with it being a new build and a slightly smaller system, we thought that would be a bit more important to get a volumizer on here. Plus the fact that it's on it on this pre-plumbed. With it experimenting and trialing some different methods of heating on this system, and in my house we would go with the weld heat and what Daikin provide. We didn't really necessarily need the pre-plumb, but we thought we'd give it a go in future. Not too fussed about them, they're okay, but yeah, there's different cylinders out there which are just as good. We always trying to put the Daikin cylinder in there with a Daikin heat pump, just because I think the algorithms and the torquing and the sensors are going to be a bit more accurate throughout the you know, the heat pump and the cylinder and stuff like that. So we've got an immersion on there. That immersion's more to do with powerful operation and just getting it over that 52 degrees. That will help along with that. We always have our hot water below around about 50 degrees, so that immersion's never in use, or a booster heat, what it's called in the Daikin lingo, and that will help with the disinfection cycle as well. So once a week, that will come on for 30 minutes, or hold it for 30 minutes and go up to 60 degrees. That will kill off any Legionella, because obviously it's hovering around them lower temperatures. This is a 180 litre cylinder. There is 2 of us and a 1-year-old. If we ever decide to have more children, we might have to either increase the hot water temperature, and therefore the overall size within that will be more, or get a big cylinder. But that's the one that would fit in the loft hatch without disturbing all the loft hatch. But so far so good. Yeah, the guys have done an amazing job. Everything's lagged. There's an inbuilt filter on here, which is a magnetic filter, and then we've got a gauze filter which is down here as well. So we clean that out on every service. These two top up every vessel. There's a heating vessel on the heat pump outside. But yeah, overall, yeah, pretty happy with it. Efficiencies are good. I've not run out of hot water. We set this at reheat only. So instead of scheduling, I've done scheduling, and there is points where you will miss that schedule and it becomes a bit of an annoyance. So I've just put it at reheat only. I've enjoyed it, and we never run out of hot water, and we don't have to think about it. As I said, downstairs we said that it was a slightly inefficient process anyway, so we might as well just get on and get it done and enjoy the hot water as well. Obviously there's lots of smart tariffs out there now, so what we always say is that live with the products that you've installed, your heat pump, your solar and battery, have a good season with them, and then start adding complexity, if I can say it, into the mix, like smart tariffs. There's no point chucking in Octopus Go, Octopus Agile, if you don't know what the system can achieve on its own and naturally in its natural functions. Let it do its thing, and then start analysing what you can increase in terms of its run costs as well. So at the moment, I'm thinking of particularly Octopus Go, just because I know that my battery's always been full and had energy in there in them higher energy times. So I think it's between, let's say, 4 and 7 in the afternoon. I know that my battery will be full by that point and coming down and probably ending and depleting about 8 o'clock. So I would be taking care of through them high prices, running prices, and during the day I think it's 40% less. On them high prices, 60% more. So I might as well utilize that. So I think I'm going to go on to Octopus Go, but I wouldn't have known that without having a winter season, looking at the data. If you've got a battery app, if you've got the Daikin app, monitoring it, analysing it, and then seeing where you can go with that. So yeah, definitely run the system first, enjoy it, simplify it, and then start tweaking after that. So the guys have obviously done an amazing job as always. Really chuffed with it, and yeah, happy days. Back to the heat pump. There you have it. There's my heat pump installed. Really happy with the efficiencies and the way it's going. Really comfortable throughout, and hot water all the time. Yes, I've got high efficiencies and I'm really chuffed with that, and you can gain them efficiencies in any property. So whoever says you can't heat a house with poor insulation is absolutely incorrect. You can. It's about the design, the application and the commissioning behind a heat pump. So if you've got a house with less insulation, you just need a bigger heat pump and bigger radiators. You can still gain them efficiencies. As I say, it's about how you design it, apply it, and especially the commission of the heat pump. So I'm really happy with ours. I'll show you lots more installs in all the properties in all different variations, but this one is just to say I believe in it. We've ripped out a gas or fossil fuel boiler. Really chuffed with it, and a perfect install by the guys. So James from Lee signing off. Cheers guys.